So, I've just started to read that new Thrawn book. You know the one by Timothy Zahn. You know the guy, like the guy who I could just say the guy, but no. Um, the guy who was like basically responsible for starting the momentum on the original Star Wars expanded universe uh, in the early 90s. Like, he really did more than anyone to, like, boost that popularity into what it is now in terms of, like, spin off media, at least. I've even heard some say that that explosion of uh, newfound relevance for the franchise was an additional motivator in uh, starting the prequels. Um, but yeah, like he started off with a trio of books that would come to be called the Thrawn trilogy after the antagonist. Uh, I remember finding the final entry in that trilogy in a bookstore and picking it up. I mean, when I was 8 or 9, something like that. I was just obsessed with that Star Wars stuff, and Thrawn was a captivating character. He never even had a direct viewpoint. He was always seen through the eyes of others in the book. Um, but he's loved, man. Like, when people complained about the dissolution of the expanded universe of Star Wars after Disney acquired the franchise and threw all of that other stuff out, they were mostly thinking about Timothy Zahn's work. The rest, went up and down, but the stuff that Zahn wrote was always incredible. Um, and since then, uh, the official story team in charge of the Star Wars stuff has chosen to uh, pick um, diverse elements that stuck out to them from the old stuff and bring it back into the new version. And Thrawn has turned out to be one of those, to my delight and the ecstasy of many, I'd assume. He was, I believe that he made his uh, new debut in the Rebels cartoon. Uh, Quite good. But this book, so it's his full return. And like in the Thrawn trilogy, none of those books actually bore his name. As I said, he was just an antagonist. Very well written antagonist, but that was his role in the story. This book, they're hiding nothing. It's called Thrawn. He even gets to do a bit of like first person narration, which is something of a rarity in the Star Wars novels. I believe that one of the older books was even called I Jedi, mainly because it was narrated by the Jedi character instead of being done in third person. But yeah, so that's fantastic. I'm still I'm still reading the early parts of the book right now, but at this point, I think that my favorite aspect might be the fact that it feels to me like Ensign-0 Man in space, with a mysterious blue alien instead of Brendan Fraser, and an earnest young cadet instead of Pauly Shore. Um, but Yeah, it's delightful, man. Like Thrawn goes to school, um, and I think that the apparent absence of Brendan Fraser might even be um, somewhat ameliorated by my automatic tendency to uh, hear Thrawn's lines in the voice of Benedict Cumberbatch. Um, but yeah, man, Thrawn, like great character. Like on the pantheon of uh, weird blue dudes in fiction with glowing eyes, he's up there. He's not too far from Nightcrawler. Um, he'd probably have to be at the top. Um, but as I say this, I realize that I might enjoy uh, seeing them meet in some capacity. It'd be like uh, weird blue Sherlock Holmes versus weird blue Errol Flynn. Um, but as I say that, I realize that that sounds exactly like the sort of thing uh, Nightcrawler would program into the danger room for himself. Because that's what he does, right? He basically treats the danger room like his own personal version of Abed's Dreamatorium. As well he should.